Hello, 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 our beautiful, beautiful friends. Hope you are well. I'm here with Kris. Hadia. HadiaLoving.com is my webpage. I am a spiritual counselor, life coach. I invite you to go on to my webpage and sign up for your sessions. I am here to support you to create your best life and live your best life. And Kris is also with us. Today, we're going to talk about consistency and the value of consistency and staying consistent regardless of life challenges and why that's important and valuable. Kris, I invite you to introduce yourself and how can people get in touch with you. Kris is amazing, amazing artist and person on the planet. And I've known Kris for a long time. And Kris, I love you. You are amazing. So go
Thank
ahead.
you. So if it's specifically, if you'd like to check out any of my artwork, you can find me on Instagram at lich_KEELA. And that should have links to all of my other stuff on there. So with that out of the way, let's talk about consistency.
Yay. Well, I just want to say one more thing. I have like allergies and congestion. So I'm doing Ricola. So that's what's in my mouth and I might cough. So I just want to give you guys heads up. That's what's happening. If you're listening to this and you're hearing like sound like this, it's because I have a Ricola in my mouth. All right, consistency, yay. So as many of you might know, consistency is valuable and important because it helps us get through the challenging times and it keeps us healthy. A simple example is being consistent with brushing your teeth. Let's just say, most of us, not everybody, but most people go to the dentist twice a year. Going to the dentist twice a year does not keep your teeth healthy. What keeps your teeth healthy is brushing your teeth consistently every day, twice a day. And even if you skip every now and then, it's okay, but you need to have that consistency of brushing your teeth and flossing to keep your teeth healthy. Going to the dentist does not keep your teeth healthy. And regardless of the nights or the mornings you don't feel like brushing your teeth because you don't feel good, you got to do it anyways. And somebody said, so we're using the teeth example, which is easy for most of us. But let's talk about being consistent, excuse me, with working out or meditating or taking on a mental, emotional, spiritual practice like writing gratitude. You don't want to just write a list of gratitude when you're happy. You really want to write also a list of gratitude when you've had a hellish of a day, because there's always good things going on. And I don't know if you guys heard of Hal Elder. He wrote a book called The Morning Miracle. I hope I'm saying it right. And he says doing the 7 savers, he calls them. And if I'm not quoting him correctly, I apologize. So I read his book and I practiced the 7 savers. And but what he talks about, and he doesn't talk about this in the book. I listened to a bunch of his interviews. He says, if you do not have 20 minutes to work out every day, do a minute. It's better to do 1 minute than do nothing at all. Because this way you are still in the habit of having consistent, yes, I'm still working out for a minute, I'm meditating for a minute, I'm writing for a minute, I'm visualizing for a minute. And that keeps you strong and connected to your habit. It's better to do something every day for a minute than to do something half an hour a week. What do you think of that, Kris? And how has consistency supported your life and your life practices?
Oh, in so many ways.
So
Um,
tell us,
so
yay.
I do really like the idea of doing something 1 minute every day because it's not necessarily, so this is twofold. First and foremost, this is not necessarily that it's not about the volume of time that you spend doing something. It's that you create a habit of it. that is so consistent that your subconscious begins to expect it. And once you've locked into that sort of rhythm, even if it's for only a minute, as long as you are keeping consistent with it, your brain begins to expect that that is going to be the case. And the resistance to actually doing that thing every single day diminishes incredibly. So it's almost automatic at that point. Going to bed, well, I don't feel comfortable getting into bed until I've gone to the bathroom and brushed my teeth. And then the second part of that is somewhat tangential, but I also like it because you said like 1 minute. I've heard that if you're having a really hard time doing something, especially when it's practicing a skill, like artistic work or maybe working out, if you do something for 2 minutes, is the example that I've heard, you usually will do it for a bit longer. Even if you have all of that resistance to not start in the first place and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, what kind of excuse can I make to avoid doing this? If you just commit to 2 minutes, 120 seconds, super easy. Anybody can do it. You will probably end up, by the time that 2 minutes is over, saying, I'm just going to do this for a little bit longer because you've already invested enough time to kind of break through that resistance.
And also like having that commitment you're gonna do, like for brushing your teeth. I'm a person who can't go, even if I fall asleep when I don't feel well or I'm exhausted, my body wakes me up to floss and brush my teeth
Yeah.
because I'm in a habit of flossing and brushing my teeth before I go to sleep. Like my body won't let me not do it.
Yeah, you can't relax because there's something that is left to be done.
Exactly. Even it's I'm always like, wow, my body's waking me up out of my sleep to floss and brush my teeth. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what consistency gives us. It sets us up for success when we don't want to, we don't feel like it, we're not up to it. And that's really valuable to have consistency, not obviously not just in brushing our teeth, but the big things in life, like how you work with your finances, to make a commitment to be consistent with your finances and with like eating healthy. Um, like our basic needs need to be covered. Consistency with like for me in my life, the kitchen. I do not like waking up to a messy kitchen. So no matter,
I'm the exact same way.
yeah, no matter how and I live in chronic pain. Like I don't feel well every day. But no matter what, it's hard for me to go to sleep with a messy kitchen. So I somehow, and I don't know how it happens, because I got in a habit of cleaning my kitchen before I go to sleep. I somehow got in a habit, no matter what, I clean my kitchen before I go to sleep. So when I wake up, it's clean and it makes me feel so good. It's like, yes. And that's what consistency gives us. It like it empowers us when we feel powerless. What other example that it's helped me? I can't think of anything right now. Do you have specific examples for yourself, Kris?
Of how consistency improves my life. Well, one of the big ones for me is going to the gym. I feel like at this point I'm pretty consistent about it. It's like I wake up in the morning and before I even have even gone to work or done anything else, I'm like, I'm going to the gym today. And then if that doesn't happen for some reason, it just feels wrong. It's like it's almost the inverse of if you're struggling to go to the gym and you get that sense of relief when you finally decide, I'm going to skip today. It's the inverse of that, where if you somehow can't get to the gym because you've been consistent about it, you feel guilty, you feel bad about it. Even though like you didn't have to go through the pain of working out, it just feels wrong. Same thing with brushing your teeth. Same thing with going to bed at a consistent time every night. Those are all big things for me, especially because I work so early in the morning. Get up at 4 o'clock every morning, And so it's really, really easy to overstep those boundaries and have a hard time the next day.
Yeah, and so it becomes in our nature to actually take care of ourselves when we practice consistency. And the self-caring becomes a quality self-caring, not quantity.
Hmm.
So what do I mean by that? Like it's quantity when we work out once a week for half an hour to 2 hours,
Hmm.
right? But it's not quality. When you work out, when you commit to working out every day for a minute or 2 minutes, that's a quality workout because and it builds on your muscles.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
the habit builds on itself.
yes, like for me, I wake up around the same time every day, no matter what. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to sleep in. This just doesn't happen. No matter how much I want to sleep in, doesn't happen because I've been consistently waking up around the same time. My
Hmm.
body just does it, and I can count on that. And there's such freedom and empowerment around having consistency and knowing that because I've been consistently like brushing my teeth, cleaning my kitchen, waking up around the same time, there's freedom in that and there's no struggle.
Yeah, there's no resistance. It's automatic.
Exactly. And somebody said, and consistency is also part of discipline.
Hmm.
When we're consistent or disciplined, we do have a lot of freedom. Like most people think of it the other way around. They think, oh, if I'm disciplined,
Then you're
I'm not.
restricted.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm restricted. It's like having a boss, but it's not like that actually. When we are consistent and disciplined, we have so much freedom because like the rest of the day, you wake up at the same time, you go to the gym at the same time, you know you're eating healthy and you're taking care of your physical body, and hopefully you have a spiritual practice. Also, you're taking care of your spiritual self, emotional and mental. You do your affirmations, you do your visualization, you're doing your writing, and the rest of the day you're free. You're free to explore, to connect, to be creative because that consistency takes care of like the house cleaning. Your house is clean. So your physical house is your body, your mind, your emotion, your spirit, and your soul. You take care of those basic needs, and the rest, it helps, it opens up your creativity as well.
Hmm. And that relates to a concept that I've heard about, which is called decision fatigue, where if you have to make too many choices in a day about something, whether you do something or you don't, it does actually wear you down and get to the point where it becomes difficult to make decisions, good or bad. And so if all of those things are automatic, they've already been accounted for. You don't have to make a decision. You don't even have to think about it because you've already decided this is the way that things are. That frees up your mind from having all that decision fatigue, and the time that you do have that hasn't been already allocated for those things is just free, like you said.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's the same thing like if you have a pet, a dog.
Hmm.
The dogs, they expect you to walk them at the same time and feed them at the same time. And the rest of the time, they know they can do whatever they want. And usually they're just sleeping.
Hmm.
What a great life dogs have.
I know my we have two dogs in this house, and that is what they spend most of their time doing.
Is like my mom's dog. I'm the one that usually walks her. She comes to my room when it's time for her to be walked, and she just stares at me. Exactly. I'm like, okay, 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 let's go. She's so funny, but she's nice about it. Like I've heard other dogs that would jump on their owners and lick them.
Yeah, go all crazy.
Yeah. She just stares at me and I'm like, okay, I got it. Yes,
I see what's
ma'am.
happening here.
But there's such freedom in that. Like I don't have to think about it. I know, but it's her time to be taken for. She's gonna let me know.
Mm-hmm.
It's my time. Let's go. I've been waiting. I need to go outside and do my business, girl.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's where the freedom comes in. Like you said, Kris, you don't have to make a decision. Oh, let's do it in an hour, or let's do it early today, or let's do it. So consistency, and it builds character as well, and confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident that I'm gonna brush and floss my teeth. I'm confident that I'm gonna clean my kitchen because I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to think about it. I'm confident that I'm gonna pay my bills on time. That is something I've been doing for years and years and years. Part of my consistency and commitment that my bills get paid on time. So making those commitments and sticking to the commitment and staying consistent with it and having confidence. And I'm a person that works for myself. Like for those of you who are listening to this and you're like, well, how do you know that you're going to make the money? When you make the commitment and you are consistent with it, it just works out. I don't know how. I just know that I'm committed to living within my means and paying my bills on time. And I've been consistently doing it for years. It just works out. Just like it works out for you, Kris, waking up at 4 a.m, going to the gym, then going to work.
Oh, I go to work, or I go to the gym after work. The gym isn't even
Oh,
open that early.
all right.
It'd be
Well,
nice though.
in LA, some gyms are the 24-hour gym.
Yeah, they're 24-hour gyms. This one just isn't one of them.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have a little relief at the end of the day. It was the same way when I was in school too. When I was taking a lot of classes, I would always, around the middle of the day, I'd have a gap between classes, go to the gym, eat lunch, take on the second half of the day. And that consistent mental vacation of being able to go to the gym for maybe an hour, 45 minutes was like the only way that I could make it through that grueling process. Because otherwise, you're just spending 12 hours a day in a classroom or at a desk or in front of a screen with no end to it in sight.
Exactly. And that wears you down.
Mm-hmm. You need a break of some kind. And then when that break is also something that's benefiting you, your health, your mental state, you're setting yourself up for success again.
It is I love that you're talking about that. Setting yourself up for success. And we talked about how it frees us up, it frees our mental space. And also it gives us self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
and self-value and self-worth. I know that I care for my body, that I am gonna brush my teeth. I like one of the other things I do when I first wake up, I drink water,
Yep, me too.
and I don't even think about it. I just reach for it. And
Yeah, it's right there at the bedside.
exactly. Yeah.
First things first.
Yeah. And so I trust that I'm taking care of myself. And that is self-caring, self-loving, self-nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
Just building that trust relationship with yourself, it's very important and very valuable. And it doesn't mean like every now and then I don't brush my teeth. Yes, if I'm up too late, but it's less than more.
Yeah, it's the ratio of consistency versus slipping up every once in a while. There are some days when I don't go to the gym, and then I'll probably put that on my next rest day. Or if I'm just really not feeling like it, maybe, you know what, that's one day.
Mhm.
But otherwise, it's most days. And that's the important part. You don't have to beat yourself up with the fact that you slipped out of your routine once, because that doesn't serve you at all.
It doesn't, because for a lot of us, and I used to be one of those people, if I got out of my routine, it was hard for me to get back on.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people struggle with that. I used to struggle with that. I got out of my routine, it was hard to get back on. And like, I'll use the brushing my teeth, the teeth again, because that's important. So for me, I couldn't fathom, like in some areas, I couldn't fathom not brushing my teeth for 2 weeks. That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's gonna be around me, right? I wouldn't want to be around me. So if I miss a morning or a night, but I get back on it right away. So you got to think of whatever you're committing to, like you're brushing to your teeth. It's that in your commitment to yourself needs to be that important and that valuable for you, and not let 2 weeks go by or a month or 6 months go by and not get back into the gym, not get back into walking, not get back into drinking water. And noticing how you will brush your teeth because you're going to be around people, and that's important because none of us want to have bad breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we're around people, most people pull out all the stops. They do the what is that liquid stuff? I don't use it because I don't think it's good.
Mouthwash.
Yes, thank you. I use all natural things.
Mm-hmm.
So, the mouthwash, the gum, whatever. Um, and it's important to have that as a reference point. Like, you're not going to not brush your teeth for 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. Even
Mm-hmm.
people who are sick in the hospital, they brush their teeth when they're in the hospital, because we know the value of having healthy gum, because that affects the rest of our body.
Yes.
Connecting to the value of your commitment to yourself. If you make a commitment to go to the gym, to be consistent for 2 minutes, 5 minutes a day is better than none for 6 months.
Yeah. And then maybe you feel really guilty and you go for 2 hours at a time, and now you're all sore and rickety and you can't do anything, and you feel good that you did it, but just really bad in general. You can't just, it shouldn't be something that needs to be like paid back if you make a mistake, on one hand. And then the second thing is that trying to do it all at once defeats the purpose, because it's about consistency, not how much of the thing that you do. It's not like paying back a debt where you can pay it all back at once, as opposed to making your normal payments. It's something that must be consistent.
Exactly. And people do that with food as well. Like, they decide to not do all sugar and flour.
Mm-hmm.
Will not do sugar and flour, but every now and then they will just binge eat sugar and flour and make themselves sick.
Yep.
So it's actually better to have a little bit of sugar and flour every day than not to have any at all and then binge eat sugar and flour every now and then and make yourself sick.
Yeah, it confuses your body. Your body loves consistency, and your brain does too.
And if you do decide not to eat sugar and flour, your body does, after like the detoxing. Some people detox from sugar and it's really hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
After the detoxing process from anything, your body doesn't call for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I used to, I think I was addicted to Diet Coke. I have to have Diet Coke every day. Like,
Uh-huh.
I couldn't live without it. Excuse me. And so I'm gonna stop talking. Kris, can you pick it up?
Okay. Okay. So then consistency when it comes to what you intake in your body, is extremely significant. So much so, like you were saying, that just a Diet Coke a day could become potentially addictive. That once you make a consistent habit of having that thing every day, then you've made a habit of it. Like we were saying, the resistance to say no is no longer there. So you're always going to say yes. The same can be said about sugar or certain other types of foods. A lot of diets call for just cutting everything out all at once. And that's really shocking to your body and your brain, and may work for a little while, especially if you're very determined and you have a lot of discipline. But it's it's a method it's kind of the quick and dirty method of altering a routine, and that you're trying to break everything and put it back together all at once, as opposed to slowly easing out of something and then easing back in.
Yeah. Um, I'll go back to my story.
Okay.
So I decided to stop drinking Diet Coke. And then I have to tell you, the detox process was hellish. It was like the worst thing I detoxed from. I was sick for 4 weeks, like literally sick, dizzy in bed, throwing up. It was hellish. I was like, whoa, that is not good for my body. But after that, my body wasn't craving it anymore.
Hmm. It's like withdrawals.
After the withdrawals, like,
Hmm.
and I don't crave it. And it's been years now since I've had any. I have sparkling water every now and then. And I like to put lemon or lime in it, and
Mm,
especially
delicious.
when, yeah, it is, especially when it's hot.
Oh yeah.
It's a refreshing drink. Um, but otherwise, I don't crave it. And I notice when I do think I want Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke, it's because it's in front of me and it's not a body craving, it's a mental craving.
Hmm.
My mind is like, oh, they're having some, I want some too.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's noticing that when I was consistently drinking Diet Coke every day, and sometimes up to 6 cans a day, which is crazy. That is all exactly. That's an addiction. That wasn't a big addiction for me. And then I'm like, okay, no, I'm not craving Diet Coke. I just want to share and take part into that other people are drinking. So I take care of myself. I've been
Mhm.
consistently not drinking Diet Coke for years. So I just get up and walk around, or I go get myself sparkling water, or I drink water, and it satisfies my thirst for something. But what I really noticed that I'm not thirsty for the Diet Coke. I'm thirsty for connecting with people. And because they're doing it, I want to do it too.
Yeah, it's a social connection, social drive to partake in that thing.
Exactly. So noticing that we also get out of our good habits when we want to connect with other people,
Yes.
and how that's not good for us.
Yeah. When your friend says, "Hey, you want to see a movie this afternoon at this time?" You're like, "Oh, that's when I'm supposed to go to the gym, but I do really want to see this person. I want to see this movie. Ah, I guess I'll just skip it today."
So it's important to
Hmm.
negotiate for what works for you. And you can negotiate with yourself. You can say, like, I love that example, going to the movie with a friend. It's like, okay, can we go to the movie later or earlier so I can get my gym on today? Because I usually at 4 o'clock, for example, I usually go to the gym. Or in, at this time, this is what I do. And more times than not, unless you live in a town, they only have one movie theater and there's only that one time, you know. But most of us, are we back in the movie theaters?
Oh yeah, we've been back for a while
Okay.
in a lot of places.
Okay. I went and saw a movie at someone's like loft yesterday. There was a group of us. It was really nice
Hmm.
to socialize. Yeah, that was sweet. So off topic.
But nice that we can go back to the movies.
Well, it was nice to connect with people.
Yeah, that's the core of it, is being
Yeah,
able to go out and do things with people.
it was. It's been a long time since I've socialized, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. I love this.
Hmm. I remember why I missed this now.
Yeah. Um, so negotiate with yourself and negotiate with other people around what you think you need and don't need. It's
Yeah, so
important.
stand up for what you need, both to yourself and to other people.
Exactly. Instead of going, well, I guess I'm not going to go to the gym today.
Mhm.
It's like telling it's important to negotiate with ourselves first and be like, okay, I'm not going to go to the gym now, but I'm going to go in tomorrow morning before work and work out for 5 minutes. Again, like Hal Elder says, this guy is brilliant. His story is brilliant. I invite you to check him out. He was in a severe car accident, and he couldn't, like, he was supposed to die, and he wasn't going to walk. And through the power of his thought, and because he was and he was 19, but because he was so disciplined, he walked again and rebuilt his life. And he also later on in life, he still is a young man. I think he's in his 40s. He's married, got 2 kids now, but he got cancer along the way. And because of the power of his thought and consistency in his practices, he got over cancer. A brilliant person. So he has this morning miracle book and
Mhm.
exercise book. And he talks a lot about consistency is not, again, I'm repeating myself, I know I am, but I think it's important to hear that it is not about not doing something or doing it for too long. It's about the everyday routine, everyday practice, whatever you're committing to. And it's important to have physical practices, mental practices, like every day do positive affirmations. And if you don't have time to spend 20 minutes in front of the mirror doing positive affirmations, do it for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And every day, this practice I do and I teach my clients. Take your hand and place it on your heart and connect to the loving that is within you. And just tell yourself, I love me. I love my body. I love my mind. I love my emotions. I love my spirit. I love my soul. It's less than 10 seconds. And just do that. Like, find simple practices that work for you, that engage your body, mind, emotion, and spirit. And you're good to go.
Mhm.
So, how do you negotiate, Kris, your practices when life gets busy and you're working, you're dating, you've got your friends, you've got your music, you've got your art, like you're a busy young man and you have a lot going on and your life is expanding more.
Mhm.
So how do you stick to the basic wellness for your life?
Well, that's where I start all the time is basic wellness. So for physical wellness, it's sleep, diet, exercise. Those are essentially non-negotiables. For me, it's less of a problem of like eating the right thing and just forgetting to eat or not eating because I'm busy doing something else. Um, and then for mental health, it's going to work, making sure that I have money to pay my bills and all that, spending time with people, socializing, and those are kind of the foundation of my life's consistency. And then once that is established, everything else starts to come in afterwards. Um, but it depends on what's going on in my experience with creative endeavors like writing, artwork, music. Um, a lot of it comes and goes, but I know for a fact that it's almost like a larger scale of consistency where even if I don't play music, even if I don't do all of these things every day, I know that one day I'm going to do this thing. One day I'm going to do this thing. One day I'm going to do this thing. And I'm never going to stop. It's just baked into who I am. Like I'm never going to wake up one day and be like, you know what, I've just had enough of playing music or I don't think I want to draw anymore. I'm just over it. That's never going to happen. It's already been such a consistent thing in my life that it's a non-negotiable. I'll always go back to it even if I slip up out of those routines.
That's beautiful. I love that you're connected to your well-beingness and part of it is your art.
Mm-hmm.
And to you, you have like this inner knowing that I will do my art regardless.
Yeah.
It's drawing, writing, playing the guitar, writing music or writing melodies. And it sounds like you don't even have to think about it and schedule it because you're gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember this was most poignant when I was in school and I was so busy I didn't really have time for anything else other than taking care of myself and school. All of my creative pursuits essentially fell by the wayside, because there was just no time for them and other things were being prioritized. But every once in a while, I would have a night where I just got restless. I had to draw something. And I noticed that this would consistently happen the whole time, where it was like maybe I'd lose a little bit of sleep, but I felt better the next day, even without that sleep, because I had creatively fulfilled myself. And that would always come back. It was like a timer waiting for like, oh, you still haven't done this thing. You still haven't done this thing. Okay, now your brain's gonna be like, we need to do this thing, and it's a non-negotiable now because we are consistent about this. And I found that really, really interesting.
And I love that you said, even though you didn't sleep much, you felt rested
Hmm.
and fulfilled.
Yeah, in the same way, it's been true as well for socializing. If you a lot of times if you only have so many hours in a day and you're adding things, you already have things that you need to do and then things that you want to do, something, it's a zero sum game. Something has to be sacrificed to get the other thing. But in my experience, in so many of those situations, if I stayed up a little bit later, or maybe I didn't turn in a homework assignment, or I skipped the gym, but I went and hung out with someone or hadn't socialized in a while, the next day I just felt so much better, even though by all means I shouldn't, because I should feel either tired or guilty about what happened. It was because it was what my body needed at the time. And that's also part of, sometimes you have to adapt to your scenarios to keep all of these consistencies working towards keeping yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually healthy.
And yeah, it's true. We get fed when we connect with another friend or with our art. We get because we're living authentically.
Hmm.
And it
You're
really,
not lying to yourself. You're not lying to yourself and saying, "Oh, I need to do this thing because it needs to be done." When in your heart you feel, "I need to go hang out with those people because that's who I am." And in the former case, you're lying to yourself because you're arbitrarily pushing yourself into a scenario. And that you feel worse, even though you did the thing you were supposed to do, you feel worse for some reason because you're not being your most authentic self.
exactly, exactly. And I love you bringing up these points of when we live authentically, we are alive, we're energized, and we don't need a lot of sleep.
This is true.
Really don't. Like most of us have experienced meeting up with a good friend and staying up all night talking,
Hmm.
just talking and having great, amazing conversation with that friend. Um, and then we go to work and we have a great day at work, and then we go to the gym, and then we go do our life, and we have like we feel fulfilled for some people the next 2 weeks or the next month.
Yeah, even though that day you're like, wow, I did all this on 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah,
I feel great. I don't know why.
exactly, exactly. um I'm trying to think. One time i I met up with a friend that was years ago that I haven't seen, and I was up for 3 days, and it was like the best 3 days of my life, and I wasn't like doing drugs or like sugar or caffeine. I'm not a person who drinks coffee or tea. Like every now and then I do, but not, I'm not a caffeine person. Because this friend and I, we hung out all night talking and just having these brilliant conversations. And it energized me, and it was just so amazing.
It's almost addictive sometimes.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times before I started living here, I would come to visit this particular friend, and I would always stay over here when I visited. Everyone else would go home, and then we would get to talking and talking and talking. And even though like we're tired, it's late, everybody else is left already, the party's over by all means. Then the sun starts to come up and we're still talking because we're so amped about what we have to talk about. And the conversation just keeps rolling and it feels so fulfilling. And then it's 6 a.m. and the sun's rising. You're like, oh, maybe we should go to sleep.
Those are actually the best. What is it called? The party starts happening when usually most everyone leaves.
Mhm.
Like the best thing. I remember when I was in college, I go to the parties and people start leaving, and a few of us would stay, and we'd just be hanging out on the floor in one of the people who invited us on the floor in the bedroom, just having the most amazing conversations. And next thing we know, it's like morning. We're like, oops, we got to get to class.
Yep.
And we would be so energized, and it was nice because there was also this unwritten rule of when you're hanging out with good friends, being authentic and vulnerable and honest, nobody gossips about it. Nobody talks
Mhm.
about it. Nobody brings it up. No one would say, "Oh, did you know that Hadia blah blah blah?" Like there was this container of trust and safety and togetherness, just so amazing. Like
Mhm.
I loved that. And that actually happened last night when I connected with this young woman. Her name is Claire. We had this amazing conversation. We just kept talking and talking. And finally, I was like, I should go because you have things to do, don't you? She goes, yeah. And she's like, well, I have to do dishes if you want to come hang out with me. And I'm like, no, it's okay. We'll connect again some other time. But it
I
was,
have to call it at some point.
yeah, exactly. It was just us. We just kept talking and talking. And she was 22. There's age difference. And I realized it doesn't matter what your age is either. When you're connecting with someone and you're being authentic and vulnerable, it's just so sweet.
It's just human to human. You can take out all the rest of the details.
Exactly. Like when I was young, when I was in my 20s, I loved hanging out with older people, and I've always connected with older people and had older friends. And
Mhm.
now I'm the older person connecting with younger people. I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. It's so exciting. It's having this, and she's brilliant. We're talking about psychedelics and like many other things in art, and she just graduated and got her psychology degree, so we have that in common. And
Mhm.
it was just so sweet. So within the consistency, because it gives us freedom to be free, to be open, and to show up authentically and vulnerably when it's appropriate with another human being, with another person. um and like I didn't mean to, like I took the doggy with me, Cookie, and she loves people, she gets so much attention. um and we just started talking, and it was just so nice, so sweet.
Mhm.
And what I loved about it is like we're sitting, this was at a loft, like nowadays they have these working live-in lofts. I don't know if you know what that is.
Not super familiar, no.
Yeah, it's new to me as well. I guess that they're building these, it's a workspace and home space at the same time.
Okay.
Like you work there and live there.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's designed really beautifully. There's all this space, and then you can rent out like desk space for people if they're needing desk space as well.
Mm.
And it's a huge space. And there was other people around us, but her and I just sat and just started talking, and we just got into this world of creativity and healing, and talking about alternative healing.
Mhm.
And I'm like, so the reason I'm sharing this, you can create space for yourself around other people as well. And when we are in this space of authenticity and vulnerability, people give us space. So that was really sweet and lovely.
Mhm.
And it sounds like you've had many experiences like that as well.
Oh yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, when you really got some, like when the connection is very, very strong and active. It's like electricity. It's just powering you both up.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I don't know if I don't not want it to, I want to bring it up, but I don't want to start talking about it completely today.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot going on around microdosing um through psychedelics and stuff,
Hmm.
and I'm like, let's explore that. And because I've been hearing a lot of young people are into it. And I
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot.
Yeah, and from I've been, going to YouTube and actually meeting young people who do it and share their experiences open, and I'm like, this is interesting. And they use it like microdosing consistently every week.
Hmm.
And the feedback is it's helping their lives. It helps them through anxiety, through depression, it opens up their creativity. So um because we're talking about consistency. So
Hmm.
consistency is not just for like brushing your teeth, drinking water, going to the gym. It's whatever you decide to do in your life, whether you're microdosing or your artwork. I used to draw, and the only time I had time at the back in 2000s, early 2000s, it was at night. So I would start drawing at night. Excuse me. I apologize. I have these allergies and the weather's been crazy here. It was, I just made a commitment. I would start like at midnight and I'd find myself drawing till 3 a.m. But it gave me so much peace
Hmm.
and so much harmony, and I just loved it. So if you're gonna commit to something, be consistent about it.
Yeah, don't start very small as possible. Like we were talking about the 2 minute thing. But be consistent about it. That's the real goal. It's not about how much you get done. It's the fact that you do it every day. And that will naturally lead that routine to becoming stronger.
Yes. So is there anything else you want to share, Kris, before we wrap up?
I think we've tread this ground pretty thoroughly, I think. There's all sorts of I've looked into this a lot for my own benefit of different like methodologies and terminology as far as how routines are established and how you can make them easier. But I feel like we've really touched upon the core principles of how consistency itself, through all of these examples and analogies that we've used, benefits you on a holistic level for life improvement. And I think that was what we really wanted to talk about today.
Okay. Is there like one of the research that I know you said we did well that you'd like to share? Like, because some people, uh, again, like overcoming the you're consistent for a while and then you stop and it's hard to get back.
Hmm.
What is the easiest way to get back into your routine again? And then you stop and you get back, like, to just break that habit of, oh, it's hard for me to get back.
Hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, for me, like my work days are very long. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I work 10-hour shifts. Some days are it's a physical job. So some days are pretty strenuous, but I still wanted to go to the gym afterwards. But most of the time, by the time I was leaving work, I was not feeling like it. That was the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to sit on the couch or sit in front of my computer and do nothing. So what I started doing is I would think about it as I was going to bed. And then in the morning, when I was fresh, ready to start the day, I would say, I'm so looking forward to going to the gym today and I'm going to do it. So you've already made the commitment. So in this situation, there's something that you want to commit to, but there's resistance because there's another challenge you have to overcome in the meantime. And consistently, if you allow that challenge to wear you down, you will choose not to do the thing that you wanted to commit to. So when before you've experienced the challenge of, in this case, going to work, when you're still fresh and ready for the day, make that mental commitment of, I'm going to the gym after work. And I still felt the same way by the time I had finished work and I was all tired and I really didn't want to do anything. But I was like, no, I told myself this morning that this is what I was going to do. In the same way that I woke up that morning and said, I'm going to work and I'm going to eat breakfast, all of that. And then after going to the gym, I felt so much better. So it was a little bit of mental gymnastics to try and navigate through that scenario where it's like, there's a lot of resistance here pushing you away from this thing. But I did feel I started to feel worse if I consistently gave in to not going to the gym because I'm like, I really want to go to the gym. Like I really want to work out. Like it makes me happy. I know it does. And I can see myself like being unhappy more often if I don't go. But finding a way to again set yourself up for success where it's like no matter how I feel, I'm going to do this thing because I have the ability to do it. It's not like I'm sick or like I hurt myself. That's a different kind of scenario. But barring those sort of extraordinary circumstances, this is what is going to happen. So it was a commitment from the outset, from the first moments of the day saying, I'm going to do this and this and this, and all the rest of my time is free.
I love that. That's I call that like contrary action, contrary thinking, contrary feeling, and regardless of what I feel, what my body's telling me, I'm doing it anyways.
Yeah, because I noticed, and I have another friend at work. Um, we were supposed to start going to the gym together, but he always waits until the end of the day or the middle of the day. And I asked him like, "Hey, are we going to the gym today?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'll think about it." He hasn't made the decision yet. So obviously, by the time you get down with a 10-hour day of physical work, you're like, "Heck no, I'm not going to the gym. Never. No way." And so, and because of that, we have never gone together.
Oh wow.
Whereas every day I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta go because they all kind of chat after work. And I'm like, I gotta leave because I want to go to the gym and then like, relax. Um, they're like, okay, bye. But it's because I'm looking forward to that because I've been manifesting going to the gym all day, no matter how bad I feel. And I know that after all of that, I'm gonna feel so much better.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like you're getting to the gym, you're committed internally to work out, but it feels challenging. But when you're done, it feels rewarding. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even like when I'm driving there, when I'm walking in, it's not until maybe a few minutes into actually working out that I'm like, okay, I could do this and this feels good. But you have to make it, there's so many stages where you could just stop and turn around and not do it, that it requires that kind of arbitrary level of commitment that like I know you're predicting the ways that you're going to be disingenuous with yourself and like unauthentic with yourself and kind of like heading those off before they even happen. In another way, setting yourself up for success.
I love it. I used to have a friend that would say, "Don't give up before the miracle happens."
Mm-hmm.
And like it sounds so in a simplified, like most of us think of a miracle like from the movies. Oh, the bells are gonna start, the trumpets will go off, and the bells and the angels will come down from heaven. That's not what people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like in this circumstance, the miracle is you went to the gym, regardless of how tired you are. And then you felt the miracle is you felt energized and good about yourself afterwards.
Yeah, what does that make? How does that make any sense? I burned more calories and I did more work. Why do I feel better afterwards? It's because you're
Exactly.
being your authentic self.
Yeah, I love that. Don't give up before the miracle happens. The miracle is the result of how you feel about yourself. You feel good. You feel
Mm-hmm.
empowered. You feel free. You feel strong. You feel valued and valuable. I love it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, Kris.
Of course.
In wrapping up, remember, consistency gives you freedom. It creates more space. It supports you in living authentically and vulnerably. And it also helps you when you're consistent, when you feel good about something, it helps you stay consistent when you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a better life. It really does. Um, that's all I have to say about that. You, Kris, we're good?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right. So again, I am Hadia. HadiaLeving.com is my webpage. I invite you to go on there and sign up for your sessions. I've been working with clients for over 25 years, and I help you really create a better life for yourself through self-loving, self-caring, self-nurturing, having a better life on all levels: body, mind, emotion, spirit, and soul. And Kris, you can find Kris and his art on Instagram. Will you tell us again how people can find you?
Yeah, so the handle for my Instagram is Lichkeela, which is spelled LICH_KEELA.
Yay.
And there will be more links in the description and bio of that page.
Yay. So as always, I love you. Kris loves you. We love you. Love is given. All of us really love ourselves and each other. And the reason we forget, because most of us got hurt, and we got hurt early as in the womb. Remember who you truly are. Every single person on this planet is born loving, kind, beautiful, zestful, amazing, creative, joyous, and free, wise, brilliant. Mwah. We love you, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.